Another day, another Vita vlog. What's up, everybody? So I was gonna try to film this video like outside or at least in my car, but that has been fumbled multiple times. My car was really awkward, and I didn't have like a way to have my camera set up. And also, I went to the park and there were people taking up like all the tables and stuff because there was gonna be like a birthday party and stuff. And I was just like, okay, you know what? At least people are still going outside. Because what I'm talking about today is making me fear that everybody is just getting dumber. And I want to talk about AI, which is something that I've talked about probably a multiple times on this channel. And obviously, if you've ever come to one of my streams, I think I've talked about AI as well. But AI is getting insane now. Obviously, if you're in America, there's a lot of craziness going on. And I think AI's like popularity and AI's just like integration in everything is being just sought over. Like everybody's blowing over. Like nobody's paying attention to it. And everybody's just like, oh, this is another feature. And I think there is a lot of people that feel that AI is just going to be like a fad for a little bit and it's going to go away. I just don't believe that's the case. I think AI is still going to get to the point where it's going to take people's jobs. It's already taking people's jobs, and it's only going to get worse. And I know that I think everybody knows that is kind of a problem, especially if you're in like creative spaces and whatnot. But I want to talk about the idea of how AI is basically making people dumber. I've heard this from teachers, and like you can go on like Reddit or you can go on just like a lot of different places. And teachers, even in college, are saying, I'm no longer a teacher, I'm no longer a professor, I'm just a bona fide professional, like, checker of if AI is used. Because everybody, like, you don't even have to worry about, like, cramming for papers or stuff anymore, because an AI can write your whole, like, 40,000 word paper if you need to for college. And maybe you just go in there and you, like, make it sound a little less AI. So I can only imagine how it is being a teacher nowadays. It must suck. Especially like, dude, I remember when I was going to school, it was a lot of like, let me just copy and paste from Wikipedia and put that in there and then change it up and make it sound more like me. Like that's the stuff we were doing in college. So I can only imagine now that you could probably spend all week doing jack shit and then just be like, yo, ChatGPT, blah, 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 give me a whole paper about Abraham Lincoln. And like nobody's learning anything anymore. And again, I can only speak from an American standpoint, but the education system in America is god awful. It is worse than when I was going to school. And I didn't think it was too bad when I was going. I mean, my school had some cool stuff. I went to a school that had like a cosmetology place and also had a film school in it, which for the side of town I grew up on, very rare. But it was cool to have. Like, it was fun. I'm glad I got to experience those kind of things. But I also knew that there were other schools that didn't really have any of that. And it was just like, you're lucky it had teachers. You know what I mean? And so, like, education was still bad when I was growing up. But now it just seems god-awful, especially with, you know, higher cost of living and then teachers not getting paid enough. And I just hear students and smartphones and everything are just awful today. So, with all of that, like we were already getting dumber because of how school is, and now you're introducing AI, this new thing that can give you anything you want. And it's not just, at least when we had the internet, you still had to search for stuff, right? You still had to go to Google and try to find something and be like, all right, what are my topics? And like if it was some like obscure thing, maybe Wikipedia didn't even have anything on it, so you're just like whatever. And also, if you had a teacher that was like, you better cite your damn sources, they would, you know, if you use Wikipedia, I had teachers that were like, you cannot use Wikipedia as a source. And you're just like, crap. And then, you know, you'd have to be like, oh, well, maybe if I still take it from there and try to find it somewhere else, I'll use that as a source. It was, you had to at least try a little bit, but you don't need to do that anymore. So again, I genuinely think when it just comes to education alone, we were dumb before AI. We're only going to get dumber. And now people don't even want to teach anymore. You know what I mean? Teachers are just like done. Like, and I'm not speaking about this of just like, oh, I read some stuff on Reddit. I have friends that are teachers. Like, and I'm talking about, I have friends that are teachers like in elementary, middle, and high school. And they all say it's bad. And that's partly because of parenting as well, obviously. It's not just AI. But AI is definitely making it easier to just not do anything. Like, you don't have to learn anymore. It's just, it does everything for you. And, I don't know. Like, I will say, there was a lot of things I learned in high school that I'm like, don't need it. But I do think as you go through school and like you learn those little things on how to learn, how to research, I think those things are important. Granted, with the way the world is going now, I think a lot of schools need to convert to like trades and stuff that AI is not going to be able to fix right now. Like, man, we might as well start teaching people how to plumb, how to do woodwork, how to work on cars, how to do all that kind of stuff, like trade work, electricians, all that, repairing stuff, because it seems like a lot of other stuff AI is just we're gonna replace all of that. Granted, AI isn't perfect yet, so we're still gonna have people that need to double check and all that jazz, but still, there's not gonna be a lot of people doing a lot of the same stuff. But education going out the window, which I think is, if you want to put on the conspiracy hat, I don't really have, here's my conspiracy hat over here. The red is a coincidence, okay? If you want to put on the conspiracy hat, I think they want to make us dumber because it makes us easier to control. At least that's what a lot of people would tell you, right? But shit, with the way things are going, can you argue against that? I don't know. But the other thing I want to talk about when it comes to AI is not just how it's making us dumber because nobody's researching anything. And actually, no, I can't move on to the last part yet. The last part is very important to me personally, but sticking on the dumber thing, because I just realized this. A lot of people are also just blindly believing AI, which this is something else we've talked about before. I'm sure of it. But, there was a big thing about AI saying, like, yes, this is okay to mix with this. And, like, people were like, like, is it okay to eat this or is this not poisonous? And AI was like, yeah, it's totally safe to eat. And it was just like saying terrible stuff or just flat out wrong information. I did see a video where somebody said if you put a cuss word after whatever you're searching for in like a Google, it'll actually give you real links and stuff because the AI doesn't like cuss words. So if you ever want to search up something AI and not get the AI assistant at the top of the Google bar, just put in like bitch or fuck or something like that. And it should give you you shouldn't get the AI assistant, which I think is really hilarious. But with the AI stuff, as somebody who is unfortunately trying to break, not unfortunately, well, I don't know if that's the right word, who is unfortunately suffering with anxiety and constantly searches stuff, I can tell you for a fact the AI assistant is just more anxiety inducing because it is giving you like the top search result of possibly the worst information. It doesn't even have to be real information. And this is something I had learned in a video where, Google will pick just the most sought after information, but it doesn't even mean that it's from a reliable source. It could just be like, if I were to like say like, oh yeah, anxiety causes X, Y, and Z, and I had like an audience of like millions of people watching me, and I had like a link or a website or whatever, that would get shot up to the top of Google if it was getting the most search results, and the AI assistant would just pull from my website and say that, yes, anxiety does cause this, this, and this. And it might not even be factual information. And some people will read that and be like, oh my God. And as somebody who has done that, but, luckily I have learned to go farther and try to research stuff, which, again, researching doesn't help the anxious mind because it's only a Band-Aid to what you should be, dealing with. And, it's stuff like that. Like, you could just be making yourself sick from wrong information. And this can also be dangerous in other situations. Like, what if you need to, like, search up something for your, like, sick kid and the AI tells you wrong information? Like, again, it is making us dumber. And it is, like, everybody's just kind of, like, flat out trusting it as well. Like, do we need to start, like, teaching Terminator in school? Like, is that what we need to do? Has everybody forgotten Terminator? So, yeah, I don't know, man. It sucks because I do see, like, there are a lot of like creators that use AI for fun stuff, which is okay. Like, I see people having conversations with AI and see what it says and whatnot. I understand that that's all fun and games, but with the implementation of AI and everything else, like, first of all, how are we as a world not, like, how are we totally cool with people stealing our data everywhere? Like, seriously. Like, that's the one thing that blows my mind. that we don't have laws that say like, yo, if you take our data, you gotta pay us. Like, dude, can we like it? That shouldn't even matter what side of the aisle you're on. We should all vote for something like that. There should be a politician that puts that out in there and it's just like, yeah, we're gonna start charging companies for our data. And then either the companies are gonna be like, well, shit, we're not gonna pay these people, or they could be like, all right, we'll give you like 20, $30 for your data. Like if we can take it, you know what I mean? Whatever. Like they'll find out the most cost effective stuff. How are we not doing that? As a fucking society, can we come together on one thing? Let's all get paid here. Doesn't matter what side we're on. Because AI is just stealing all our shit. Like I feel like the only way to actually like protect your ideas and stuff, you got to go back to writing pen and paper, baby. This is what we need. AI ain't gonna steal this unless it's like fucking flying around in the space that we don't even know about. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just crazy to me that everybody's just so chill with it. Which brings it on to the next thing that I think really is, will affect me in the future, barring, I have a long life and I'm able to like, do what I want to do. And that is the idea of AI and art. I genuinely feel like AI is starting to kill creativity. Now, a lot of artists are going to be like, no, creativity's still there. It's just, we have to fight through AI art and blah, blah, blah. But that's the thing, though. I agree. Artists are still out there. Artists are going to continue to create, and maybe there'll be a renaissance after probably a depression, which that's going to suck. But AI can quickly just steal anybody's art style, can steal anybody's, likeness or type of, creativity. And that's got to be crushing to the artist, obviously. But then also, people that use AI don't give a fuck. Like there are these AI bros that are like, we're gonna be able to create the next epic movie with AI, and they can't see that all the AI has created is just garbage that has been stolen from other movies and just made it look more colorful or whatever. And it's like, bro, somebody else created that, the AI just stole that. Like, and they don't care. Nobody cares about it. And the biggest flaw of this, and the reason why I wanted to make this video, was the Studio Ghibli art that's been going around. And it sucks because I've seen some creators that I follow, or just people I follow on Instagram and stuff, use this fucking filter. And they probably don't really understand it, or they don't care. They probably think like, oh my god, Studio Ghibli's so cute. And it's just like lost on them that like the creators at Studio Ghibli would fucking hate that. And I hope they sue the fuck out of OpenAI or whoever created that particular freaking filter, that not filter, but like that, prompt or whatever that makes everybody have the Studio Ghibli stuff. I did see a video where there was a conspiracy that somebody at OpenAI, or I don't know if it was OpenAI or who it was, said that like, oh, we're going to be breaking a lot of crazy copyright rules, and then he just so suddenly died. I don't know if that's real or not. I didn't bother looking into that, but I see that video getting a shitload of views, and again, could be going into conspiracy realms or whatever. Personally, I just think like, what happened? You know what? Here's the thing. I know a lot of people hate copyright rule, especially if you're on YouTube. A lot of people are like, I just want to talk about this, and like, really, you're going to kill the small guy? We might need to get strict with copyright again, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I'm hoping, like, obviously not with video game companies. Hopefully video game companies understand that, like, yo, this is free promotion for us. But we might need to get real with copyright again and have companies really care about their IPs and their styles and stuff so we can combat AI. It's funny how I've seen technology progress and my views have changed over time. And like, to be fair, I've messed with AI. I checked it out and stuff like that. But over time, to see the amount of like just garbage it produces and how people are just okay with it and think it like looks good is annoying. Because all the AI, like, look, if you're into the spicy stuff, there's an abundance of it now. Like, there's just so much. That's what they make it for, right? And that was cool for a little bit because you were just like, oh yeah, now look at this funny thing of my two favorite characters together in a spicy moment. But now it's everywhere, and it's just like the same fucking style, and there's no difference, and it's like bland. It's bland. This style that we once thought was really cool is now bland. And now everybody's gonna take that Studio Ghibli style and put it on everything. And look at my cute avatar on Instagram. Look at me. I'm in a Studio Ghibli movie. And it's gonna be nobody's gonna give a fuck. And that sucks because we know Hayao Miyazaki is pretty old. I think he's like 80 or something like that. His company was like, oh, is this going to be his last film? Is he going to step down? And he was like, nah, I'm not fucking going anywhere. You know what I mean? He pulled a DiCaprio. But the thing is, now he's going to have to, like, the last, hopefully multiple decades of his life are going to be filled with people just stealing his art style. And he's been very anti-AI, and he's been against, people stealing or copying and all that jazz. And now it's just blatantly going to happen. So I hope, because, Japan apparently doesn't fuck around with copyright. Ask Nintendo. Nintendo comes after everybody. And I'm hoping that OpenAI, ChatGPT, whoever owns this shit, does get sued. Because something needs to change, man. I do think it's crazy that they're just able to steal everything. Like, it doesn't matter. It's like, oh, like, copyright used to mean something, but now because AI is this thing, it's like, well, we're just training it. The only positive thing, if you think it's a positive thing right now, is that nobody can own AI images. Like, that's probably the only positive thing. But it also kind of sucks because I guarantee you, before we have a law that says, you can't use people's data, or you can't take people's like AI images, or you can't use people's artwork to train AI, we're probably going to have a law that says AI creations are copywritten, which would be utterly fucking stupid. So yeah, I don't know. I just think it's, and it's funny because like I go to Barnes and Noble, right? Like that's been one of my things that I've been doing since November. I felt like I wasn't getting out of the house enough. So I decided I'm going to go to Barnes & Noble, maybe once a week minimum. I've went almost every day during a week sometimes, and I'll go to the cafe. Sometimes I'll get something to drink, and I'll do some work there or whatever, just to get out of the house. And I love to just walk around Barnes & Noble and see, what kind of books are out there. Like, I'll spend time in the psychology section. I'll spend time in the kids book section to see because they still have the classics. They're still selling the classics, which is amazing from when I was a kid, and to see the new stuff that's coming out. I do want to write a children's book someday, so I'm like, all right, what is the new things that are popping out? And like, still kind of feels kind of like stuff that I would have read if I was a kid. It's just, different characters and whatnot nowadays. And then I obviously spend a lot of time in the manga section. And the thing that sucks is, if you read a lot of like webtoons nowadays, not too sure if anybody reads any webtoons, but webtoons, I'm starting to see AI pop up in webtoons a lot. And it's just like kind of shitty. And it sucks because I know some of you out there are writers and you're like, oh, well, dude, AI actually lets me bring my stuff. I can never draw. And like, what the fuck? AI lets me tell my story. Look, man, I'm in the same boat. I can't draw for shit either. Like, I can't. Like, I wish I could draw a nice face, a nice body, or something like that. And because my stories are definitely gonna need that. But I care about artists. I care about creatives. Because here's the thing. If AI can draw and create amazing photos and stuff, it can also do the same thing for writing. So you as a writer should fucking care and should not use AI. Now, look, there are some good instances for AI, like, hey, give me a list of blah, 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 like different types of magic. Give me a list of different types of medical terms. Like, that's a good way to use AI because that's research. But like typing in, like, write me a whole story of all, that's shitty. You're not creative. You're not cool. You're not fun. Like, it's just boring. You know what I mean? And so I feel like, I don't know if any of y'all have read AI stories or seen like pictures from AI. It's not interesting because AI just like, the prompt is like, give them a sad face, and like they're just stealing a sad face from something else. But when you actually read something that has been drawn by an artist that actually wrote the book or knows, what the writer wanted, you can see the emotion in the characters. It's so much different, and there's just like actual like liveliness to the story. Something that AI doesn't provide. Unfortunately, again, going back to the education thing, I don't think people understand or even comprehend the difference sometimes. They're just like, it's a story. it's okay. It's kind of like Harry Potter. I like it. And it's like, oh, I don't know. And maybe I'm just like, you know, I'm gonna be that person that's like, we gotta protect the arts. You know what? Maybe that's gonna be me. I don't really know. But as somebody who wants to be in this field and doesn't want to like have to combat with I think it's shit. I know that there are some companies, and I don't know if Amazon does this, but there are some places that are starting to put like made with AI labels, which I think is good, but I think it needs to be better. Like I think, and this is something I would love if fucking Zuckerberg or whoever runs Instagram was actually doing something because they have Meta AI or whatever that bullshit is. If your AI is so good, let it detect other AI bullshit and let me toggle to eliminate all AI stuff from my feed. That's what I want on websites. If some people want AI art and they give a shit about it, that's cool, whatever, but allow the people that hate AI to toggle it off. And I should also be able to search that on Barnes and Noble or Amazon, be like, anything made with AI, let me turn it off. I don't want to see it in my feed. I don't want to purchase anything. And you know what? I think if you break the rules of being like, oh, you're found out that you actually used AI in your shit, I think, you should be like fucking barred from doing stuff. Now I get it, and I will say I understand that AI is used for certain aspects in thumbnails and stuff like that on YouTube. I can't. I'm trying to think if I've ever personally used AI in any of my thumbnails. I've definitely tested it out before. That's 100%. Because like I know like content aware I feel like is very different. It's like, oh, let me just remove somebody in the background. That's different, especially if you took the photo personally. You can do whatever you want with the photo that you took. But yeah, I don't know. I do think there are good. I think AI can be used as a tool, but I think right now what it is mainly being used for is to steal and make people dumber. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not like super anti AI to the point where like, oh, you can't do it for anything. Like AI needs to be gone forever. I do think that there's probably uses for it that I don't even know about that are really good, like maybe in the medical industry, or if it would be better to like keep registries for stuff. I'm pretty sure there's amazing tools that it could be used for, but the main thing right now is just stealing. And also like there's been things also about like taking people's identity and like putting them in situations and all that kind of shit. Like there's also stuff like that you got to worry about. um so yeah, I don't know. Just wanted to rant about AI today because I know there's gonna be a day that I go to like a Barnes and Noble or a bookstore, and I'm gonna pick up a book that maybe has an interesting title or cover, and then I'm gonna flip through it, and it's gonna be fucking AI, or it's gonna be like written with AI or something like that. I'm gonna be like, go fuck yourself. So yeah. Anyways, that's my rant for today. I will try to. I want to get out of the house a little bit and kind of shoot somewhere else, but it's been a little weird. Also, everybody's everywhere on the weekends, and it's kind of hard to just get out without having to worry about. I don't like to inconvenience people. I think I've talked about this before. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this rant and Vita vlog. Let me know your thoughts on AI, and I'll see you in the next one.